Hey everybody, welcome to Peegs.com. Matt Weaver, Jeff Rabjohns here with you at Memorial Stadium, where the first time in history the Indiana football team is 10-0. They take care of Michigan today. A gutty win, in the words of Kurt Signetti, 20-15. Offense had some struggles. Defense played great for most of the game. They needed some key plays. Got a great late punt return. Matt, I guess your thoughts first of all, big picture. What do you think when you realize the Indiana football team is 10-0?
Well, it's crazy because I mean it's never happened, not in anybody's lifetime. First time in the history of the program, they're 10-0. A lot different kind of win than what we've seen from this team all year. I was just kind of thinking about it. It kind of reminds me of the Ohio State Nebraska game a couple weeks ago, where they had to get some goal line stands. Kind of an ugly win for them. Similar game. I only mention that because that's the next team on the schedule, and you're kind of competing with them for the chance to go possibly to the Big Ten championship. You would assume it's going to be against Oregon, but not trying to get too far ahead of myself. But just it's to me, this is, even though it's an ugly win, I think it's a good win for this team because they've never had to play this way this whole year. The defense was fantastic. The only touchdown they got was on a 35-yard drive. They held them multiple times down inside the red zone, and then stopped them at the end of the game to get the ball back to the offense and then run the clock out. So kudos, huge punt return from Keyshawn Williams. So all phases, I know the offense wasn't great, but they in the first half, they had a solid first half. It wasn't normal, but it was a solid first half for this offense.
Yeah, I think it was 17 points in the first half. They did some good things, and then they had that stretch there from about 2 minutes left in the second quarter till their late score where they went scoreless. Their longest scoring drought of the season, but I thought the defense was really impressive. They were put in some tough situations. Curtis has that interception. Probably his worst throw of the season for a guy who really hasn't had very many throws where you look at it and go, ooh, that wasn't good. And, you give the opponent the ball right there inside the 10. The defense holds them to a field goal. That's a win for the defense. Your thoughts on just, Aiden Fisher's game, CJ West's game, just the defense overall and how they played?
Well, I think Aiden Fisher, Seth around 14 tackles. He was all over the place. It's what we've seen from this guy all year. CJ West, I think, had 9, which for an interior defensive lineman, that's a lot of tackles. I mean, you just usually don't do that. And he was constantly, I don't think they had any sacks, which was a little bit surprising just because they were in the backfield so much. But give the quarterback from Michigan that he did a good job of evading pressure. But because of that, he had to throw a lot of throws going to his left, kind of off his back foot, whatever. And, I think he finished 16 out of 32, which is obviously not a great completion day. But I thought the D-line played great. Fisher was terrific. We mentioned CJ West. Maybe not the typical stat day from Kamara, but he was there a lot. Linnell Carr was there a lot. Just all the guys that rotated in really did a good job of pushing the pocket. And then, I thought overall they tackled well.
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole bunch of missed tackles. I mean, maybe a few, but none that was really egregious that you're like, oh, geez, that went from a 4-yard run to like a 14 or 15-yard run. So just overall, a good day from the defense. And like I said, the special teams, made a couple plays there too.
Yeah, Keyshawn's punt return was arguably the biggest play or most impactful play, certainly the most momentum influencing play, probably for Indiana in the second half, at least as far as, you think about them getting the ball. You got it on offense, and you're getting it off kick return, punt return. Did give them some momentum, and it really gave them really good field position. Just your thoughts on his play in that moment in time with, 9-0, undefeated, hanging in the balance. The guy comes in and goes, boom, makes that play.
That's a huge play because, I think he ran it back to the 39 and got him. I want to say they got a field goal off of that drive. It kind of reminded me, what he was, his I guess, want to, kind of like the play at Northwestern when he caught the pass. And it was, an offensive play versus special teams where he was breaking tackles and spinning. That's kind of what he was doing here. And for a guy who's not very big, he's powerful. Like, he's a strong guy. This isn't all about speed for him. Like, he can break tackles and he's hard to bring down. So just a tremendous play by him. And, like I said, you didn't have the typical stat day from a lot of guys. Elijah Sard had 1 catch, but it was a 36-yard touchdown. Yeah. Omar Cooper, I think he had a few catches, but they were some key ones. Tyson Lawton, it was kind of his day to shine in the run game instead of Justice Ellison. And, Indiana didn't run the ball great, but there in the last drive when they had to run the ball and Michigan knew they were going to run the ball, they ran it and got a first down and ran the clock out. So, like I said, he's Coach Signetti said, not the prettiest win, but it's a win, and they're not going to give it back.
Right. It is interesting that, that they've been winning games by an average of, I think it's 33 points a game
Mhm.
coming in. Up until last week, they've never trailed. People said, "Oh, what's going to happen when they trail?" Well, they're at Michigan State. What happened? Scored 47 points in a row, won 47-10. People said, "Oh, what happens if it's tight?" Well, it was tight pretty much the whole way. They got up a little bit early, but then it got tight and it stayed tight. And I remember, you remember this too, I'm sure, when Kirk Cignetti was got hired and was talking about some things that he his kind of like part of his history was they do well in one-score games.
Yeah.
Obviously, they really hadn't had that hadn't come up yet. It did come up today. I thought he did a really good job. So did Shanahan and Terry, Brian Haynes on the defense. They really kept, obviously Rourke had one mistake, big mistake, but they really just sort of kept playing. It really was that this play the next play. And I thought it was really good game management, and you could tell the players had practice situations. Just your thoughts on them, just the poise that they showed in a tight game that if you make one or two big mistakes, all of a sudden unbeaten season goes away.
Yeah, and to me, it goes back. We've talked about the Keyshawn Williams punt return. He returned punts at Wake Forest, but he has not done it all year at Indiana. Miles Price gets knocked out there at the end of the first half, and he's got to return it. And like Coach Cignetti said, that was a ball that was kind of diving towards the IU sideline. He runs up, and you could easily let that bounce. He runs up, fields it, and then makes a play. That's one unit picking up another one. The offense really struggled in the second half. They had trouble blocking Michigan. Like I talked about before, they got a great defensive front. They got 2 first-round picks on that D line. A lot of NFL guys on that defense. The special teams, our defense picks them up. Special teams picks them up. Give Nicholas Radishik 2 field goals. I mean, and he hit one there for about 40, 41 yards. And that's a big field goal because that made them have to go get a touchdown to win the game, Michigan. I mean, and their kicker obviously had the leg to kick it from, 60 yards. He had a 57-yarder with plenty to spare. So this is, like I said, this is a game that championship teams win. You don't bring your A game from the part of the team that has been unreal all season long, but the other two phases of the team pick you up, and especially the defense. The defense has really done this all year. I mean, the Maryland game, turned it over 4 times, and they don't get any points off the turnovers, and you win by 2 touchdowns. I mean, this defense has been great all year. Kept them in the Michigan State game, last week until the offense got going. They've been like this all year. I mean, it's reason why they're a top 10, 20 defense in the country and one of the best in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it was interesting that Chris Cignetti even mentioned that coming into this game, they were, I think it's top 3 in the country in PFF grades, in offense, in defense, and special teams. And they certainly, leaned on some special teams play today. Well, that'll wrap it up for us from Peegs.com here at Memorial Stadium. Matt Weaver, I'm Jeff Rabjohns, Indiana 10-0.